Right, hello everybody, how you doing? Right, today we're going to attempt, again because I've already muffed it up once, we're going to attempt the Diehard Maclane challenge. And it's a 7 to 10 minute challenge talking who you are even, or who even are you challenge. So there we go, we're going to start talking about me. Before I do, roll that intro. Rightio, welcome back. Right, who even are you? Well, the name in the channel says, my name is Simon, and I was born to Chris and Margaret in London in 1969. Hospital in London, and I did used to know the name of the ward I was born on in London, but a week after I was born, the maternity wing burned down in London in 1969. So if you Google that, it should come up with some news on, well, it may come up with some news on a maternity hospital that burned down in London in 1969, and that was a week after I was born. Not going to tell you what month I was born in, so haha. Not even going to tell you the date, because let's not share too much personal information. But anyway, born in London, lived in London, lived in the Angel, Holloway, Islington, Camden and Kentish towns of London until I was 12 years old. And my parents, I've already mentioned, Chris and Margaret, or Christopher and Margaret to give them their full names, or as I like to call them, Mum and Dad, decided we're going to move out of London because the eldest son is getting in too much trouble and he's going to end up in prison because I was a bit of a tearaway. So we moved out of London, nod nod, even though it's a C90. So we moved out of London and we moved to a little sleepy place north of London called Bletchley. Now Bletchley, those of you who don't know, has got a place in it called Bletchley Park, Google that, which is quite famous after the Second World War. It wasn't famous during it, due to all the secret work they did in communications. And they and their crack team of mathematicians cracked the Enigma code, which is the Enigma machine that the Germans used to code all of their communications. So that code was then cracked at Bletchley Park, which is also the home of the first computer. A little bit of history for you. So anyway, yeah, that's where I was living, and I went to thank you. I went to a school in Bletchley called Lord Grey Comprehensive, which is now apparently his academy, like most of them are academies now. Oh, my front brakes are squeaking. Gonna wake up. So yeah, Lord Grey Comprehensive, which is now an academy, like most schools. I went there, and while at school, 12 years old, I met a young lady whose name was Tracy, who incidentally is now known as Mrs. GTR 1400. So there you go, Tracy GTR 1400. Met that young lady at school, which was secondary school, because in London I'd already started secondary school. Primary in London was Real Primary School. on Real Street in North London, and my secondary school in London was Haverstock, which I can't tell you which is on what road in Camden, but it's there. So yeah, so I met Tracy for the first time, and we became friends at school. Nothing ever happened at school, and cut a long story short, we both left school and went off to do our own respective things, and kind of lost touch with each other. I'll tell you exactly what happened. I went round to her house one day, I think we must have been about 17, 18 at the time. I went round her house one day, and back then, because in 1985 I started riding scooters or Vespas, I joined the whole mod brigade. So I went round there one day. I used to go round there regularly to see her. I went round there one day, and her boyfriend was new at the time. She told me, my boyfriend, I'm not going to mention his name, my boyfriend doesn't like you coming round. So I said, oh, is he causing issues? Yeah, he's getting young. Oh, okay, so I stopped down to see her. The next time I saw her, I was walking up one of the main roads in Bletchley. She was walking down it, and I heard this little voice go, "Oi, Maxwell," and I believe she was on the way to the train station, and we stopped and had a chat on the road, and obviously she was in a relationship, and so we carried on our own ways. The very next time I saw her, I was in a relationship, she was in a relationship, and I was having my bands read at church for my wedding, because they still do that in some places. And having my bands read, she was sat right behind me. We had a long conversation. She had a little girl, obviously still in her relationship, and I'm starting mine. And that was it. Never saw each other again for a very long time. In the meantime, my first marriage had gone a bit wobbly, as had hers, by her own admission. And she sent me, there's a little website that was called Friends Reunited, and she sent me, it's a bit like the early Facebook. She sent me a message from Friends Reunited saying, "Hello, remember me?" And I replied, "Yeah, of course I do." And we started talking on MSN Messenger. That's the equivalent of texting, or IM, WhatsApp, or whatever you want to call it, except it's on a computer. So we started talking on that, and yeah, things got going. We met up for lunch, and a week later we met up for lunch again, and I think it was a few days later we were living together, and we've been together ever since. And we've just recently celebrated 20 years of living together. Obviously we both had children from other relationships and things, so yeah. When we got together, I was working at the ambulance service, Two Shires Ambulance Service as it was then, and I've obviously left that now, and now I'm a union representative for the Commercial Workers Union within Royal Mail, where I've been for too many years, can't remember how many years. So there's a little bit about who even I am. Biking history, this will take up a bit of time. Started riding in 1985. When I started riding in 1985, at 16 years old, if you wanted to ride, You went down the post office, you got your provisional licence, you went out, you bought a bike, 50cc you was allowed, you insured it, stuck some L plates on it, and away you went. And that was kind of a case of God sorted them all out. So I started in 1985 on Vespas, went to many runs and rallies on Vespas, Brighton, Hastings, Southend, etc, etc, etc. Oh, he's a bit wobbly, isn't he? Bless him. He's no spring chicken. And eventually stopped riding bikes after an accident, and then got back on them about, crikey, must be 8-9 years ago now. But I was one of the few, or one of the 4,000 or 4,500 people in the UK that when they changed all their driving licence categories over, because category A used to be car, and then that became motorbike, I lost motorcycle entitlement, so I had to go take my test again. So I did that and got my full licence back, and since then I've had 3 bikes. I've had a Honda DeVille NT700, a Kawasaki Versys 1000, which I really did enjoy, really great bike, but it's a adventure bike and I like sport tourer, so here I am now on my 3rd one since then, which is obviously a Kawasaki GTR 1400. So there you go, a bit about me. Who even am I? Now you know more about me than a lot of people. So, well, thanks for watching. Look me up on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. And as I say, class, click like and share and subscribe. So a bit of class, there you go, click like and share and subscribe. Share, subscribe. And I'll talk to you soon. As I always say, keep it rubber side down, shiny side up. All the best. Bye for now. Bye bye.